What are the expectations of South Africans out of today's presidential address? Has there been any tangible progress made since the last Sona? Can the president afford to ignore problems such as ESCOM, the security cluster crisis, and the Nkandla issue? Is the economic freedom fighters abusing South Africa's parliamentary multi-party democracy? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. The advent of democracy in 1994 marked a watershed in the political landscape of South Africa. This dawn of a new era, with the late former President Nelson Mandela at the helm, confirmed that a black majority government was truly in charge. While there have been highs and lows within government over the past 20 years, it is perhaps the State of the Nation address by the president that always draws massive attention and interest. The country's electricity crisis, sporadic community protests, as well as the leadership tussles at the NPA, the Hawks, and the SIU are some of the key issues South Africans will expect President Jacob Zuma to pronounce on with undoubted commitment. My guest today is Nompumelelo Khunchi. She's a political analyst, and we had expected to be joined on the line by Andile Mqitama, who is a member of parliament of the EFF. This following what transpired earlier today, whereby he had actually been manhandled after trying to host a press briefing, which some members of the EFF said he had no capacity to address. Nompumelelo, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I guess we cannot afford to start this show without firstly looking at what transpired today. What does this say about the EFF? You have Andile Mqitama and another member of parliament, fellow member of parliament, who attempt to host a press briefing. It is interrupted by supporters of the president, Julius Malema, and indeed, all hell broke loose, even resulting in physical manhandling.
Well, Mpho, the way I see it, these are the consequences of having a party that is premised firstly on militancy, and then is built around one personality, that is Julius Malema. So what tends to happen is that anything that is not sanctioned by that one leader around which the party is built tends to cause some friction because he's ruling, you know, almost like a dictator, so to speak. That's what tends to happen when you've got this overarching personality. Yes, they have policies, yes, they have structures, but we've yet to see those things in motion. So when Andile Mqitama and another member of parliament try to call a press conference, you will see a lot of unease amongst the members of the party who may see that as an affront to the national leadership, which is not even present at the press conference. So if they are not present at the press conference, then the press conference cannot be right, cannot be sanctioned, so to speak.
On the other hand, though, I mean, weren't they right? Were they not protecting the integrity of the organization? Who is Andile to call a press briefing out of the structures of the EFF? Well,
of course, this press briefing doesn't come out of the blue. There have been many accusations and allegations waged against Andile, and he, as a member of the party, may have felt that it was his right to have a right of reply. These allegations have not been made in the closet, they've been made in public. So if these things have been brought to the fore and they've been made in public, shouldn't he have the right to address them in a public platform as well? It also tells us something about the lack or the weakness of democracy within the EFF. It's still a fledgling party. We can't judge the EFF as a party that has been around for many years. It still has a lot to learn. It's still going to go through a lot of teething problems, you know, in the next couple of months, next couple of years, as it grows into a party that is in parliament. So we can't put away some of these things actually happening. In fact, we're going to see a lot more of these types of ructions as time goes on.
Some of your colleagues have said that perhaps the differences that have really manifested themselves out of the EFF are probably ideological as opposed to anything other than that.
Well, you've got a mix of different people. You've got people who have come out of the ANC, you know, who were disgruntled by what happened in the ANC, particularly in the ANC Youth League, who saw that their leader had been sidelined and very pertinent issues that the young people wanted to drive had been put, you know, on the side as well. So for them, the EFF is that opportunity to drive those issues. For others, they see this as an opportunity to start something new, to drive the policies of socialism, so to speak, which they feel have been drowned out in the ANC, which they accuse the ANC of moving towards the right rather than towards the left, you know. So they're trying to drive those socialist policies. But you've got others as well who are also trying to resuscitate, you know, the black consciousness movement and the theories that used to be espoused by that movement, and trying to put all those things together to build this new movement that will represent a new type of militancy amongst black people, you know. So there will be issues there. You just have to also look at some of the policy documents in the EFF. There is a bit, you do sense a bit of ideological, you know, how can I put it, conflict between these groupings that have come out. Some feel that they're just continuing, you know, the policies of the ANC Youth League, that there's nothing that has changed. In fact, they're a little ANC that is more radical than what the ANC wanted to be while they were in there, you know. So those are the type of things that you see. And as I was saying, that as the party continues to develop and to grow, they will eventually form an identity. The question is, will that identity move them forward, or will it lead to a collapse like we saw with COPE?
Is this the beginning of the end?
Depending on how these ructions are managed, and of course we're yet to see how this Mqedama situation will eventually pan out. Depending on how these things are managed, and the maturity of the party leadership and the maturity of the members themselves, because such things, if it degenerates into a personality contest, it may actually split the party into many pieces. So we wait to see whether or not the EFF is a mature political party as it portrays itself to be, built on policies, built on an ideological vision that is succinct and that is premised on real principles.
Others have actually claimed that, look, this benefits the ANC in a way.
Well, of course it does. I mean, the fact that it happens now, just on the eve of the Sona, where we've heard that the EFF is planning, you know, to launch, so I will put it in brackets, an attack, you know, on the president. Now you see the very EFF that is supposed to be mounting this attack, being united, having a united front, is falling apart on the sidelines. This removes the attention and the pressure away now from the ANC and the president. Now we are focused on the EFF. And what is happening in the EFF. Questions will not be surrounding now what President Zuma may be thinking, how nervous he may be. Now we're talking about Andile Mqedama, we're talking about Julius Malema. Where is he in this whole thing? So attention has completely been moved away now from what we should be focusing on.
But is Andile a popular leader within the EFF? Well, a popular member because he wasn't elected in Free State.
Well, I would venture to say that the mere fact that he is an MP, that he managed to, you know, gain the confidence of the leadership of the EFF and actually get a place in Parliament tells you something. But of course, it may be more of confidence in what he can give in terms of his expertise, rather than his popularity in the party that got him there, perhaps. But what we saw today, happening to him today, also gives us an inkling about perhaps the paucity of support that he has in the EFF.
Do you think Julius gives a damn about what happened today?
I think he should. He should give a damn about what happened today, because this could be the beginning of an unraveling if it is not managed and handled in the best way. Like I said, a lot of these allegations against Mqedama have been made in the public. You know, they've not been discussed in party platforms where each and every party can be heard. And now Mqedama has become an aggrieved party, you know, and this, continues that perception that Mqedama has now been put in a corner, he's aggrieved. So if Julius does not pay attention and give attention to this problem, to this situation, it may unravel within the party and grow. I mean, we've heard so many ramblings. You've got the Lufunos who are saying that they want to rescue the party from, this dictatorship.
Yes.
You've got many things right now happening within the EFF. And as a leader of the EFF, I would think that he's paying close attention and he wants to make sure that he has a handle on all of these things.
Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about Sona itself. This is Question Time. Please don't go away.
Scientists are confident they have found the source of the outbreak, a bat colony in southeastern Guinea. Meanwhile, a U.S. drug manufacturer has announced that it has started clinical trials of an experimental Ebola vaccine.
And this is the first examination in the country to have that high level of quality. And for us as a province to be #1 is indeed exciting.
Another test victory. Victory number 2 in this series, punched away for 4.
Brent crude oil that we import for our fuel falling below $50 a barrel today. Now that's for the first time in about 5.5 years.
The Lagos skyline is a static scene, but on the streets of Nigeria's capital, change is afoot. This is now Africa's biggest economy.
For all your business news, stay tuned to your favorite channel, SABC News, at 1 Monday to Friday.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is Nompumelelo Khunji. She's are you independent analyst or just a political analyst?
I'm a political analyst.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that.
No independence. What are the expectations here of South Africans out of today's State of the Nation address?
Well, in the column I wrote today in the Sowetan, because I'm also a Sowetan columnist as well, I think South Africans are waiting and, with bated breath to be inspired by the president. We are a country that is facing enormous challenges. And these are not only the crises we see with Eskom and electricity. It's not only the water shortages that we see communities protesting over in Majakaneng and other areas. It's not only the high levels of crime that we see in our society and the fact that the heads of the various crime-fighting units are, indisposed at the moment. There's a dearth of inspiration in this country. People don't feel motivated. People don't feel that they are part of something, that they're part of a moving machine. And so what people want from the State of the Nation, in as much as the president is going to give many promises and is going to outline many policies and plans for the year, people want him to make a rallying call to unite the society behind a goal, an objective, a vision that everyone can work towards.
Now, let's look at the progress that has been made, perhaps, since last year's Sona and 2015. Has there been much? Well,
we saw President Zuma make promises around Eskom. Firstly, let's deal with the Eskom issue. Yeah. He made promises about how the government would give this matter urgency. But we have seen since the previous Sona that things have actually gotten worse rather than better. There are still delays with Kusile and Mudupi power stations. Yes. And we hear that they will come online in June, but you've got a power analyst who are saying, well, the possibility is very slim, of course. We've seen that there's a bit of instability in the leadership of Eskom, for instance, and government has had to come in and bail them out, not only financially, but strategically as well. We also heard the president speak a lot about the billions of rand that they are going to put into infrastructure development. But over the weekend, we read reports from the Presidential Infrastructure Coordination Commission, which actually has put out a report saying that they are unlikely to meet the goals that the president announced in terms of the building of infrastructure. These are roads and dams and harbors and the like. And this infrastructure is meant to be able to drive economic growth in the country. Now, what has limited the implementation of this plan is not so much that the plans are not good or that the strategies are not sound. It's the capacity to actually do the work on the ground. And these are some of the challenges that we are seeing. There were many promises made around service delivery, improving service delivery. But what we have seen is a growth, exponential growth in the protests. And these protests are called service delivery protests. People are still complaining about housing. They're still complaining about water and sanitation, the very things that the president said he would improve. Again, it points to a weakness in state capacity. If you look at the report of Minister Collins Chabane, the presidency, the Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation, he released a report, 2012-2013 report, just looking at how departments have performed. And they score very well when it comes to strategic planning, strategic management and all those things. But when it comes to financial management, and blueprints. But when it comes to financial management, when it comes to HR management, when it comes to processes to actually bring these plans to life, they are all weak. Just to highlight, those are some of the things that we can highlight. We also had promises about how education would be improved, especially infrastructure at schools. But we still see children who are studying under trees. We are still seeing children who are in classrooms that are dilapidated. We still have challenges with teachers who are either absent or unavailable, to teach children. Then, of course, you've got the other side of the issue where you've got teachers who have such a heavy burden on them. And we don't quite see the improvements that were promised by the president,
All right. Now, let me just cut you short there. I've just received information that we now have Andile Mkutama on the line. Andile, welcome to Question Time. What happened?
Many things happened today, one of which
I think we are battling to hear Andile. Andile, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I said that the conference which I and
Andile, I think we would need to get you to or rather, please, if you can get to a place where you can just be still for a sec so that we're able to talk to you properly. But we'll do so just after the break. Please don't go away. This is Question Time.
Zoom into Africa. This is the Republic of Congo. The president is Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso, got independent from France on 15th August in 1960. The population is more than 4 million people. One of the major languages spoken is French. Monetary unit is CFA.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. We now have Andile Mqitama, the Member of Parliament of the EFF, who today, or rather earlier, attempted to host a press briefing which was interrupted, and there was some physical, scuffles there. Now, Andile, welcome back. We couldn't hear each other very well earlier. You were saying you attempted to host this press briefing. What was the agenda there?
No, myself and two other members of Parliament of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Bakitwala and Kanyisile Linshul Shabalala, called a press conference to basically put forward our position on the planned disruption or protest of the Sona that we have discovered that in fact our party has gone behind our backs to the ruling party, the ANC, and tried to negotiate that they assist in expelling 7 members of Parliament in exchange for maintaining peace today. When that failed, they then decided to, of course, use this as a revenge for not getting the deal they wanted. So it is unethical and cannot be supported, and we wouldn't ourselves be shouting. So that so the point was to explain to our people that when they see us not participating in the whatever activities that are going on there, they must know, because it's no longer about paying back the money. It is really about a narrow, unethical, even illegal deal, which is not go through.
Who are the 7 members who are supposed to be expelled?
From what we know, it's myself, Mpora Makasa, Linshul Shabalala, Lakitwala, Moteka, Tabani. Also, there's possibly 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, were you not able to raise these matters within the structures of the EFF itself?
Yes, of course, we were not, because we had already had our caucus. We discovered this after the caucus. But you can imagine how shocking this is. We are going to institute disciplinary procedures against the leadership of the party for breaking protocol, for negotiating such deals with the enemies of the party, and to expel party members.
Now, Andile, you understand that what has now happened basically puts you on a collision course now publicly, even worse than what was happening in as far as the letters were concerned. Are you prepared to stand for this?
No, we prepared to stand for what is true, what is principled, and what is revolutionary. Otherwise, we should not be involved at all. We are going to get rid of the ANC culture inside the EFF. We are going to get rid of the ANC inside the EFF, and then we will remain with the EFF.
Are you not in any way beginning a process where you're going to move away from the current EFF and perhaps form your own organization which doesn't harbor the ANC culture, as you say?
No. We have only one home in the EFF, and we're staying in the EFF. Let those who are bringing ANC tendencies go back home, and they can practice those things. They're not inside the EFF.
So what's going to happen if you get fired?
Well, on what basis will I be fired?
Well, on the basis that you have brought the party into disrepute.
What is it? What is disreputable about standing for the principle and defending the honor of the party? In fact, those who have gone to the ANC and are continuing to negotiate with the ANC and cutting such deals are the ones that are bringing the party into disrepute and must face disciplinary action.
Okay. So, to sum it up, you are not going to the National Assembly today?
Well, it doesn't look like.
Possibilities?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm talking to fighters and commissars and my ancestors.
So what would make you go? What would make you attend or not attend?
I mean, no, at this point, I'm very reluctant given what has happened, and people saying that they were sent to disrupt and to attack us. So they were saying it was on TV.
Okay.
So one wonders whether Similarly, are they sending any people to attack us in the sense?
Okay. Perhaps the last one, Andile. Do you still recognize Julius as your leader?
He's the leader of the EFF, and hopefully the party will discipline him where he has brought our party in dispute, and we can move forward.
Thank you very much, Andile, and all the best in your consultations. Boom. Here you have it. Andile, and it would appear that they have quite a number of other MPs who are, with them in this fight. What do you think is going to happen?
Like I said, I think there are going to be many more actions that we see within the EFF moving forward. This will only be the beginning, because this issue of, interrupting President Zuma's speech has showed us that there are many colors or many hues in the EFF. Some who are reluctant to push this, militant, disruptive, anarchic behavior, and others who want to have a more constructive approach to dealing with issues in Parliament. So we are seeing that the leader's very own policy and approach is actually revealing within the party different postures. So we'll see how these things play themselves out. Like I was saying, it will really be incumbent on the leadership of the EFF to handle this matter as maturely as possible, so that the movement can be restored, and that any of these ideological issues can be ironed out today, can be ironed out now, sooner rather than later.
Chances are the EFF, as they've said, they are going to ask the question, and failing which they will behave in a manner that would allow, or rather not allow, the president to continue with the process or proceedings of the day. What do you think the president cannot afford to ignore, both the EFF and perhaps other issues, quickly?
I think the issues that the president cannot afford to ignore, firstly, are the ESCOM question. He cannot afford to ignore the ESCOM question, and it can't be what he said last year. It has to be radical. He has to speak about how it is that they're going to change the way ESCOM works, how it is that they're going to invite more private producers onto the grid. Number two, he cannot ignore the issue of service delivery. When they came out of the NEC Lekgotla, the ANC spoke about how it is that they're going to fire those unqualified people in municipalities. Yeah. That has to happen, and they have to get expertise. Right now, you've got a bloated state, you've got a bloated municipalities who are bloated with bureaucrats who don't know what they're doing. The people who know and have the technical expertise actually are less, they're fewer than those who don't know. That gives room for mismanagement, misappropriation, corruption, and all those things. So he cannot afford to ignore those two things, in my opinion.
Thank you very much for that insight. That was our political analyst and researcher and columnist at the Sowetan. A big thank you to you for watching the show. Get in touch with us. Our email address, questiontime@sabc.co.za. Our Twitter handle @questiontime24. You can also follow me on Twitter @MportSedu. Let's continue the discussion. Have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.